Bonjour, WheelieMix to review today the 1178 by Pulsar Audio. So it's an emulation of the UREI 1178 stereo compressor, which is two 1176 Revision H together, linked into one stereo unit. It makes a lot of sense to have that kind of outboard in the studio because it was always a pain, and it's still a pain to match two 1176 together in stereo, even with the little UREI stereo box link. So you got this one, and it gives you a nice matched pair of 1176, which is quite useful. Pulsar, they made a plugin out of it, and I will try to compare it to the outboard I got at the studio. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, yeah, all the outboards sound different, and it's gonna sound different, blah blah, that did not emulated my unit, blah blah blah. I know that. But I just wanna show you that, is it really in the same league? Is it sounding close enough so when you are used to an 1178, you know that you're gonna get that sound, or is it far off? Because I already tried some emulation that were quite far off from what the outboard did. So it's important to test for me to see if it's close enough. And also in the 1178 by Pulsar, you got a lot of modern options, like the sidechain EQ, the look ahead, and the MS matrix and all that stuff makes it more versatile than the outboard for sure, but also can help you get closer to the sound you would like to have from the outboard using this modern feature. I will show you how. So let's start right away with an overhead microphone in stereo unlinked, the all button mode as always, the big classic, smashing the drums, and slow attack fast release. Let's see how it sounds. Well, you get it. It's compressed. It's much louder, but it's compressed. Anyway, let's now check the plugin. I matched the settings, so I know that's not the way to compare a plugin to an outboard matching the settings, but it's just to show you first how it sounds when the settings are matched, and I'm going to tweak it after. Yeah, it sounds a bit less intense on the plugin. It's hard to tell. I used another instance where I tried to match the outboard sound using the modern feature the plugins offer. So the sidechain filter, and after a bit later in the video, the look ahead also. So let's check that out. So yeah, it's funny because I managed to get much closer, much easier with the Arturia 1176, which is a black face, so it's a different emulation, so it sounds a bit different, but still I know that all 1176s sound different between each other, and I know that the hardware is going to sound different than the plugin, blah blah blah, I know. But here, what's interesting, and that's why I'm doing this type of comparison, so you can see that with the Arturia I managed to get much closer to the hardboard sound much quicker. So it means that at least the Arturia emulation is well done, because the 1178 is pretty much to 1176, so it should be in the same ballpark, you know, and it is. But it's not the subject of that video, but at least it shows you why I'm doing this type of video. I'm not doing that to show that hardboard is superior or plugins is superior. In fact, I don't really give a damn about that. I just want to show you if something worth your time or not. I mean, I could keep this kind of information for me, but I want to share it with you so you don't have to go to a studio and try the hardboard to see how it sounds, because I can see a lot of plugins being released and all the time people are saying like, oh, it's the best in the box I've found, and they never tried the hardboard, so how could they know? I mean, it's their opinion, but if you say on a plugin it's an emulation of that piece of gear, it needs to hold up to that. And I'm not saying that the Pulsar 1178 does not. I'm just be derailing from the video subject just to explain why I'm doing this type of video, because sometimes I got comments from guys that are like, you know. Anyway, so let's listen back now to an example on vocal, and let's see how it behaves. Ratio 8.1 and the classic kind of vocal attack and release setting. Let's see how it sounds.
So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so.
Alright, so you get it, it's smashed. Now let's try the plugin. First, when I matched the settings from the hardboard, it was quite close, like much closer than with the overheads and all ratio, but still I tried to use also the sidechain, and with the sidechain EQ it gets much closer. Let's listen to it.
Stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to.
Yeah, it's quite close, right? But let's try some saturation. It still feels that the hardboard got a bit more body to it.
So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so.
Yeah, no, it's more saturated on the plugin, I think, but in a less natural way. It's hard to tell. The 1178 is not super colorful compressor anyway.
So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you. So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow. So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so. So stand again, you gotta face the sorrow, you got to face what you've done, so.
Plugin has a very nice forwardness that I kind of prefer almost. I can say, yeah, that I prefer the plugin here for its forwardness, but it's missing a bit of body, but it's something that at least you can try to bring back with a plugin like True Iron by Kaz Rogue. You can try adding that body back, you know, blending that Kaz Rogue in parallel with the mix knob and using the Pulsar for the compression action and everything. So yeah, I think it was much closer here. I'm pretty surprised in a very good way. So it's a very nice sound on the vocal. I really like it. Even if the vocal here was already smashed. In fact, it was recorded through a CL1A and an 1178. So it was already smashed on the way in. But anyway, let's try now on a full mix, because you know the 1178 has also the reputation to be used on full mix and also drum bus, but full mix. So for the full mix settings, it's the classic 4:1 ratio, the lowest ratio you can do here. Slow attack, fast release as always, and a little bit of gain reduction. So let's listen to that. Okay, so you get it, it's a bit compressed. Let's now compare with the plugin. Okay, so it's close enough, but I felt that the hardware had a little bit more snaps. So I will play a little bit with the look ahead. It's better with the look ahead in my opinion, but I also feel that the hardware is a better stereo image. I hate to say that, but it sounds wider to me. Yeah, it sounds a bit wider, it sounds a bit more spread out in a stereo, which is odd to be honest. I think it's rather the plugin that maybe, I don't know. I think most of the time when I hear a very wide stereo image, it's when harmonics and saturation are spread out well to the left and right. That's what I felt at least. And here, that's how I felt too with the artboard. It's not really a matter of volumes, because it's not much that it sounds much wider. It sounds just a little bit more spread out. So it's not much of a volume thing, because also the kick and the snare seem to be at the same volume for me. More or less. Of course, it cannot be perfect, like it can be a 0.1 dB perfect, it's exactly the same. But to me, it's close enough in some volume, but just the wideness of it, that is different. So now we're gonna play a little bit. You can stay with me in this video if you want to hear a little bit more how the plugin sound. I'm gonna play with it, play with the saturation and all that stuff. I may stop talking. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. And if you have any question, just ask me as always. And I won't tell you to subscribe and hit the smash like button, whatever, because you're smart enough to do it yourself if you want. And you're smart enough also to smash the dislike button if you don't like it. That's almost like a tradition on YouTube. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, a good night, a good week, and see you later in another video. I will be comparing other outboard gear stuff that might be interesting to you. In the meantime, au revoir.